Hello.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How's it going?
I'm exhausted, but other than that, I'm great.
All right. You're just leaving work, just coming from work?
I did a working interview today, and then I was terrible and went out last night because, it was Friday night, so why not, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So, yeah. So now I'm home, and I just got home and had to be situated because I was house sitting, and now I'm back in my space.
Who are
How's
you house sitting for?
some old clients of mine because I used to work at a doggy daycare,
Oh,
and so
cute. I
yeah,
love
so
that.
I was watching their two little pitties.
Aw.
Yeah, how's your day
And
going?
good. Pretty good, I guess. Um, we my husband and I are moving soon, and so we're apartment shopping, but like from afar, which I've
Oh
never
yeah,
done, but yeah, it's such a pain.
where are you moving to?
So we're in Miami right now, and we're moving to Philadelphia in June if we can
Oh,
find an apartment.
it's quite a move.
Yeah, it's a welcomed one though.
Yeah, do you have family there?
No, no. I'm originally from New Orleans, and most of my family's still in New Orleans. We're moving for my husband. He has a fellowship there. He's a doctor and landed
Fancy.
some, yeah, I know, some fellowship that, goes over my head that I don't understand to get some, like, some, I guess, more specialized
Yeah,
experience in a field. So,
right.
yeah, so it's exciting. I mean, oh, I feel like this is bad to say, but like Miami's just not for me. It hasn't been for me, so I'm just kind of like, okay, I'm ready to go anywhere.
I feel like it's a nice place to visit.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like nice to visit for a weekend. And then after
Yeah,
that, it's like, yeah, living here hasn't been, I don't
yeah.
know, it just doesn't agree with me. And like right now, today, it's 80 something degrees in the middle of April. I'm like, what the hell is that? I don't know. I don't like that. Like it's driving me nuts. I'm tired of being like sweaty all the time.
I know. Yeah, it's I think it's 78 today over here. I'm in Atlanta.
Oh, okay. I don't know. 78's still pretty hot.
Yeah, it is, and it's the humidity that makes it worse.
Yeah, and you you get a lot of like cold weather in Atlanta too, I want to
So
say.
kind of, it's weird because it's like this has been a very mild winter. Normally, it at least snows like once or twice, and it didn't at all this year. So I'm kind of scared to see what summer is going to be like.
Oh yeah, for real. Yeah, I want to say the coldest like not actually cold temperature, but like coldest feeling cold was in Atlanta for me, which is
Mhm.
so I didn't expect it. I did not, during that trip, I did not pack for it. So I was like bopping around the city and I was just like, holy shit, how is it so cold here?
Yeah,
Um, Very
yeah.
surprising. But I guess it's the humidity, like you said.
Well, Philadelphia is going to be super, super cold.
Well, I lived in New York for a couple years, and like for some reason, the winter there never bothered me much.
Mm,
That's why that like trip to Atlanta was so shocking to me because I was like, why does this hurt? It's so cold, it hurts.
I know. I know. They all call it Atlanta, but well, we don't. None of the people that live here call it that.
Really?
Yeah, it's kind of stupid. It's like I hate it when people. Originally from California, so I hate it when people call it Cali, but that's like a Southern California thing.
That's all that reminds me of like San Francisco too. Like whenever
Oh yeah,
people from San Francisco hear others say San Fran, they're like, "You don't say that."
yeah. No, I usually just. Well, I mean, I don't live there anymore, but when I lived there, I used to just call it the city. Um, but I never called it San Fran or Frisco or any of that crap.
Right. I say the city all the time, and I have moved and lived in so many different like actual cities now.
Yeah,
I get like the like what fucking city are you talking about? Like you've been all over the
I know.
place. But and then I don't help the situation because every time I usually mean a different city. I'm like, well,
Right.
back when we were in the city, and they're like, oh, New York, and I'm like, no, New Orleans. What are you talking about? So that's a habit that I need to break.
Yeah, I know. I still call everything a freeway and people look at me like I'm insane. I'm like, "Oh, sorry, highway, interstate, whatever the hell."
Oh, do they not say freeway
No,
in
it's
Atlanta?
yeah. No, it's all like, interstates. But they're
Ah,
technically freeways, so I don't know. Yeah. You can take the California or the boy out of California, I guess.
that's so strange. I've always said freeway, and I didn't know that was a California thing.
I don't know if it started there, but I mean, I've definitely everybody calls everything the freeway there.
I don't know. My language that I've made up makes no sense because the other day I was saying something and they're like, "Oh, are you from Canada? Oh, toque." Like when you call a beanie a toque. Have you heard
Oh,
that?
no.
I didn't know that was like a Canadian phrase, and I was just like, I've never even been to Canada. Where the hell did I pick that up from? I don't know.
Maybe a show or something or a movie. Who knows?
I did live on Degrassi, so maybe that's where I picked it up on.
Probably. I tried rewatching that just for fun, and it was a lot of melodrama.
Yeah, it kind of beats you over the head with it.
Yeah. Because, well, I think it was the newer one. Oh yeah, my friend Bridget was like, "Yeah, watch the was it the Next Generation or whatever." Because I've
Yeah,
seen the original, because that was on growing up.
like
But
the original from like the 80s, 90s.
yeah, it
Yeah,
was like 89. Yeah, yeah,
that's the best series of Degrassi in my opinion.
yeah. It's I love my Canadians. I don't know why. It's just funny because, like, especially musicians, I love Canadian musicians. It just so accidentally happens that I guess I collect them.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I don't know what it is. I am a Carly stan hard.
Oh, I do I enjoy her. Yes.
I love her. There's just
Uh,
something so poppy and campy and fun about all her music that I just gravitate towards.
well, it's funny because there's this band in Canada that I'm obsessed with, and they're called Mariana's Trench. And I don't know if it's the entire band or just the lead singer, Josh, but either he or they wrote "Call Me Maybe."
Oh, no way.
Uh-huh. Yeah, they're like a
Huh.
rock band, but he does a lot of pop stuff too. I guess I want to say one of his parents was like a music teacher, but yeah, they have a lot of different influences. But yeah, they had written that, so that's that Carly connection.
Wow. I love that. I have to look them up.
I mean, they sound nothing like Carly Ray Jepsen, so don't expect.
No, I have a very eclectic taste in music, so
Yeah,
I'm happy to try something different than pop.
yeah, yeah. My musical taste is all over the place, but that's what makes it interesting. I warn people if they ever want to like listen to like my Spotify and shuffle or whatever. I'm just like, be careful.
I love that though. That's so fun. I want to listen
And
to your Spotify now.
okay. But
I
what we
guess
should
I'm
do is we should do that weird thing where we can like do the make a playlist together and it like merges your music. Have
Wait,
you
is
seen
that a
that?
thing? No.
Yeah, I forget what it's called, but yeah, you can like make a playlist with a friend. And I've tried it and it's been good so far, but I know I'm gonna run into one person and be like,
Oh, I want to do that. That sounds so fun.
yeah, I do
Okay.
enjoy my Spotify.
I am actually an Apple Music kind of girl.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't know many of us, whatever I am, many Apple Music fans, but for some reason, I
yeah,
feel like I love the way to make the playlist on there or the way it organizes.
right.
It's just, I feel like with Spotify, it's good to find new music, and then Apple Music, it's good to use when you're organizing your music.
Right.
That's how I feel. That is my hot take on music
Yeah.
apps.
I've never even had an iPhone. I
Really?
don't know. Yeah, I'm an Android girl, I guess.
I hear Androids have like the best cameras though. Is that
Oh yeah,
true?
yeah.
Yeah.
This camera's pretty good, and then the newer generations of them are even better. Um, but I'm fine with my phone at the moment. I just need to learn the art of taking a selfie because, well, actually, with a selfie with stuff in the background. Because I tried to take a selfie while I was at the Madonna show, and she was like right behind me, and I of course took it, and it was blurry as hell. And then I took a picture with some. We went to some punk show, and I took a picture of the me with the bassist, and it was blurry as hell again. And I was like, I can't be trusted. I'm just not holding the phone still long enough, I guess.
Wait, so are you what's blurry or the people in the background? Like Madonna was blurry or you?
Everything was blurry. You can like make out sort of shapes, but it was just like like light trails or whatever. It just looked weird. And so I was just like, all
Mm.
right, here's one for the record books.
Oh, see, I've never tried an Android camera, but maybe it's like so good that it's like finicky. You know how like professional like digital cameras, you usually have to like tinker with it. Maybe that's what
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I
I don't know there. I just know that I just need to probably hold I guess I was trying to take it really quickly and it just wouldn't let me. It's
hmm.
fine. I can't be trusted.
Yeah, I'm not the best picture taker. I usually make my husband take the pictures.
Uh,
And I don't take care of my phone. I've had the same iPhone for, oh my God, years. We're on like the iPhone 17 or something like that, right? I want to say this is 5 years old and it's been shattered. The glass on both sides is like completely shattered. And I don't know. I've never upgraded it. I'm just like, it still works. I
that's
get
so weird.
I get shards of glass in my hand when I hold it, but
Oh my
like
God.
it still works. So
You
yeah,
should probably get a new phone someday.
I know. I don't know what I'm waiting for.
iPhone 200.
Maybe that's what it is. It's like they make a new one every September or whatever. So once I
Yeah.
get to the point, I'm just like, well, I'm gonna wait for the next one that
Yeah.
has, this whatever feature, and it just keeps spiraling.
Well, that's why I like Android because like at least they last like at least like 2, 3 years. And I can't even remember when I got this phone, but I just do remember that I got it out of anger and hunger.
Out of
Well,
anger and hunger?
yes, because my old phone decided it didn't want to like do GPS or anything or like even function properly. And
Mm.
so I walked into the T-Mobile store and I was like, I don't care. I don't give a fuck. I need a phone. And then I did everything and do. And then like I looked at the thing and it was like, oh, it's $800. Cool. Um,
Oh
Phones are
wow.
so expensive. It's just crazy. I mean, I paid over time, but still.
Yeah, I know. They are expensive and it doesn't make sense to me. I do have to say I tried to be rebellious and like switch over to like a dumb phone, I guess it's called, like a one of the like Nokia bricks looking
Oh God.
phones, right?
Yeah.
And that lasted like maybe a day, if that, like 8 hours.
Mm,
Yeah, it's so shitty how attached to our phones we are.
I know. But it's just so the fact that you can do everything. And it's weird for me because, I'm 46, so I grew up with 8-track players and records and cassettes and then CDs and then, VHS tapes and DVDs and now everything's digital. And it's like the fact that your phone can do like everything. You used to have like 500 systems and, all this equipment. And now it's just this little handheld thing that listens to you all the time
Yeah. Yeah.
and spies on you. But it does.
Yeah, it does. It does. I don't know how like it works, but the moments that like you mention something to a friend and then it pops up in an ad later, like
Yeah.
those freak me out every time. And it's just like it's a known thing. It happens constantly, but I don't know. I just never get used to it. And it's always
Yeah.
something weird and obscure. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
how the fuck?
Well,
But
yeah, sometimes it doesn't even, you don't even have to say anything. Like it just like, it knows if you like stop scrolling and like examine something, or I guess it can like see when you like are looking at a particular product like in the store and then it suddenly
mm-hmm,
ads. It's creepy.
super creepy. We're all just, I don't know, money machines or something.
And
Like that's literally all it is.
well,
Oh,
speaking of creepy, which is a perfect segue, um,
yes.
tell me about your books.
Of course. So I had just finished the last book in this series that I've been working on for about 4 years now. And it feels like, I don't know, it was such a labor of love and also just, it was such an important tool for me where I have been in the last 4 years emotionally, mentally, to have something to like escape into and throw myself into.
Mhm.
And it really started as I don't know, like a just a fun project. And I came up with, some kooky stories, a little bit of like inside jokes between me and my husband that like worked into the book. And I got really lucky that when I decided to self publish the first one, it did really well. And I got a lot of interest. And I made it on one of the bestseller lists on Amazon. And it was a little bit, I don't know. I would like to think that I'm an amazing writer, but it just felt lucky. It just I don't know. I felt really lucky in that moment, and I just kind of push the rest of the story and slowly created this world across these 6 books. And yeah, it's been really fun. It's been a fun experience.
Yeah. So there, it's it's queer horror, correct?
Yeah, so each of the 6 books has a corresponding color of the pride flag.
Uh,
So yeah, if you line them up correctly on a bookshelf, you have a little pride moment. The binding has each color that it's coordinated with, and each of the stories has some sort of queer theme, and a lot of it is really personal fears. But I think you know most queer people can relate to some of these fears, whether it be um, expressing your love in public, whether it be disappointing your family. Each book goes into those themes uh, pretty heavily, and it was interesting for me because while I was writing it, these were a lot of things that I personally was dealing with, and I do hope that when readers dive into the books, they can kind of pick up on that
yeah,
emotional exchange. But yes, all 6 books are queer horror, and it's important to recognize that. I think with pride, we also have to accept some of these societal horrors that we deal with just for being queer, and I tried to address it with this, but I also, it's not just scary. It's not just creepy, even though it is. And I want people to be creeped out when they read it, but there's
yeah,
also a humor to it. Just me personally, I deal with a lot of these struggles with humor. So that I think was just like injected into each of the books naturally, even though I wasn't trying to be funny. I've had people react to them and reach out to me and say, "Oh my gosh, this, part of the book was hilarious." And it's just, I don't know. There's a lot of myself in there that I did not mean to inject into it, but it just, I think, happens with any type of art.
yeah. I think it comes out regardless of intention. Um, I don't know. I started writing a book in the beginning of the pandemic, and I technically finished it. I just haven't really finessed it and edited it, but that was a lot. And the fact that it's just my story, I am actually very excited to, like, after writing it for so long, to do fiction, because I'm tired of writing about me. um
Yeah, I'm sure that's really intense. I've tried uh, to write some like essays, and a few of them have been published. And um, it is so emotionally draining to be that raw. I can't imagine doing that for a full book. You know?
yeah. um and it was hard too, because, like, going back, and you want to edit it, and then you reread it, and then it's just like, opening up all those wounds over and over and over again. um
Yeah.
and so it's pretty much finished. It just needs to be edited and, like, add pictures and drawings and things. But I feel like also the podcast is like an extension of the book, because I do talk about a lot of stuff from my life. And the whole reason why I started writing the book was, I guess, almost a cautionary tale. And if I can uh, if I can help one person, I feel like we're on this earth not to just be selfish and not to, you know, it's like, what's the point of doing something if you're only going to serve yourself? Um, so, because when I was younger, I didn't really have a lot of outlets in the community. I was very sheltered. I was raised Southern Baptist.
Hmm.
So, I didn't know anything about, being gay or, I knew something was up, but I didn't really know how to phrase it. And I think it was Madonna helped me discover that. She was the first person who was like, "You're not a freak. It's okay." And I was like, "All right, cool."
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Is that something that your book focuses on? Is that something that you've like dived
It's
into or?
Yeah, I mean it's kind of all over the place, and it's funny because it's like it's not in any chronological order or anything. It's almost like stream of consciousness, but a lot of it was just me working through a lot of trauma. And the thing about it is that there's a lot that I can't remember, but like I know things happen because it's like you find little puzzle pieces here and there, and it doesn't make the full picture, but you get the gist.
Hmm.
And so it's really almost like an epitaph or something. And it's, not like because I did have the idea of like, burying my inner child, but then I had a lot of people that are like, well, don't bury them, like love them, nurture them. Like, okay.
Yeah.
So, but it's just a lot of self-examination and just trying to, I guess, put puzzle pieces together.
Yeah.
Um,
I
so
definitely get that.
it's been enlightening. But yeah, like I said, I can't wait to write fiction, like something that's not me.
Yeah, yeah. No, I definitely get that. I mean, that's something that right now, I have the six books out separately, and I am uh, working with a team to possibly put it into one book and curate it as a collection. And I've been working on an essay as a preface to it to
Right.
talk more about where my head was and how these stories came to be. And at the end of the preface, that's almost exactly what I say is like, I'm really grateful for having this escape during such a weird, traumatic time in my life. And, I'm grateful for it. And I think it created something really unique and beautiful as an art piece. And hopefully something that is fun for readers too. But at the same time, at the end, I was just like, I'm kind of ready to uh, return from that escape and be back in the real world and go back to writing, my silly, scary stories just for silly, scary stories, sake and not necessarily for this really intense therapy that I used it for.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's good to get something out of it, and I think that that's the best way of doing anything because it's like if there's no meaning and no point and you don't learn something from anything, it's just kind of empty.
Yeah.
Uh, and I think especially as, queer people, there's a lot to unpack and there's a lot to say. You got a puppy.
Oh no, you can hear him. Yeah,
I
he's
guess fine.
downstairs barking.
So,
Sorry.
well, that's why I was gonna record over at the place I was house sitting, because I was wrapping up with that, and I was like, they're gonna bark. So I'm just gonna go home where it's quiet.
Yeah, I have a little Barker. He's a mini schnauzer. He's very
Oh,
cute, and I love him to death. But
yeah,
he definitely has a big personality.
Yeah, a lot of the little dogs do.
Yeah.
I just can't ever decide. Like I always either want like a tiny dog or I want like a giant like Great Dane. I'm just kind of all over the place with dogs.
But you don't have any dogs right now.
Well, my roommate has a dog, and
Oh, okay.
so his name is Frankie, and he's like an Aussie mix. And then we have two cats who obviously the the older, larger cat is the queen of the house. And then we have a king. You know, her name is Dilly, and then we have a kitten named Pele, who's not quite two. So it's Animal Kingdom over here.
I love that. I love animals.
Yeah, me too. It's fun, but there are just times. It's funny because everybody always. I used to work at a doggy daycare, and people would ask me, "Well, what's your favorite breed of dog?" And I'd always say a quiet one.
Yeah, definitely.
I know, but
Oh,
you tune it out after a while, though.
yeah, I think so. Definitely. I don't know. It's after a while, I think it's like you tune it out, you get used to it, but it's also I've just accepted that it's like, oh, that's the way he communicates. Like just let him
Yeah,
be happy. I'm probably a terrible dog parent because I just let him get away with he's so spoiled. Like oh
yeah,
my God, he could eat a small child and it'd be like, oh, so cute. Like it's terrible.
yeah. I mean, that's not that bad sometimes. Yeah, it depends on the kid, I guess, right?
I know. Right? Yeah, some of them are asking for it, so it's okay.
Yeah. Um, so back to writing. What and had you written before the pandemic?
Yeah, so I have been writing my whole life. Uh, I remember at 3 years old, like just learning how to spell and like picking up a yellow legal pad and I like drew and wrote on that yellow legal pad for a full year and I had this story and I still have that legal pad. Like it's a prized possession and I don't know, it's always been something that I almost like feel I need to do. So I've always written
Yeah,
and sometimes it's journaling, sometimes it's fictional stories, but um, when I first got out of college, I went more of like the journalistic route. And I also worked in public relations. So, writing a lot of press releases, writing articles, which I enjoyed. It's a different type of writing, but I still loved it very much. And I really didn't publish or try to put any of my fiction writing out there for a very long time. I don't know. It makes me. It's still to this day, even doing the series. I'm happy with the way everything came out. And I enjoyed it, but it still makes me so anxious putting myself out there, and it's
yeah.
so strange because I can talk in these essays about the most personal things, but for some reason, fiction just freaks me out. It.
Hmm.
I don't know why. In some sense, I guess I put more of myself into these works of fiction sometimes, so it's hard to do it. And I had a blog back in the day when people used to blog,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know, a couple like a decade and a half ago, and I actually gained a bit of a following, and I actually used that as my first platform to release fiction, and I was really lucky because that also turned into a small novelette that I self-published in ended up publishing it right before the pandemic, so 2019, and it hit a bestsellers list, and that was really exciting. And I think that was the like validation that I needed,
Yeah.
or something out there, and just a lot of the feedback I got and still get today. I still get messages from people that are finding that story for the first time, and they really love it. And it's I don't know. It was something that I wrote for my blog readers during Halloween. I love
Yeah.
Halloween. I love Halloween. I wanted to do something special, something different. It was like a fashion blog, so I would do crazy, weird, the most cringy like photo shoots for Halloween. Looking back at it, I'm like, what was I thinking? But I was like, I want to do something different. I feel like this is more true to me and like where I am right now. So I released the story, and yeah, that's kind of what spawned this. Because after that, my husband was telling me like, "Oh, you need to keep trying to
Yeah.
to get people to read your stuff." And so, yeah, that's what I'm doing now. It's
Yeah.
still so scary. I don't know. I'm like, will I ever get over this? I don't know. It's so scary.
I think I think being scared is, I don't know, it's always kind of a good sign. Like it's almost like butterflies. Like I don't know, because I think any big things in life are scary, but sometimes you just have to, get over that fear, and it's exciting. It's um I don't know. I think that a lot of times when I get scared, I kind of know that I'm on the right path, or I at least listen to it. Obviously there are different ways of being scared, but it's not like an actual, like, you're depressed and you're like, oh my God. It's I'm sure it's kind of fun in a way too. Like, sometimes you like to be scared, like in, horror movies and such.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think my relationship with horror is so interesting because I remember as as a child, and I knew I was queer. I knew I was different, but I didn't really have the grasp of what it was. But I knew that every time someone like, oh gosh, called me a sissy, or a wussy, or whatever, these names that like felt gross, like they were taking my, I don't know, my masculinity from me, or I don't know, I don't really know what they were trying to do, but like I feel like a lot of um gay men deal with that growing up. It's like, what are you trying to prove, like,
Well,
by
it's fear by and large that makes them be bullies.
yeah,
It's the
yeah,
fear of the
that's
unknown.
is that what it I don't know. I always felt like I was almost using horror as a way to prove that I wasn't scared. In a way, it's like,
Yeah,
why are you calling me these names because I have like a lisp, when I'm actually the most like courageous person that I know. And I
right,
don't know, it was a strange relationship that I found within horror. It was almost like I was proving myself, or proving to other people that, no, I'm not someone that is scared. And like me being effeminate is something that I actually like about myself. And it's like, whatever you're trying to prove about your idea of what a man is, or what a human is, like, is not something that should equate to someone being weak, or
yeah,
and so I don't know, that I think that a lot of my relationship with horror comes from that. And it also I think was a little bit of what I talked about in my books or tried to put under the surface. Because so the series that the title we landed on, my editor and I at the end, was Tales from Beyond the Closet. But originally the working title was Don't Be a Wuss.
Yeah.
And it was because a lot of those feelings I wanted to kind of put into the book. But it's interesting now looking back. I'm like, hmm, I I don't know. Maybe that's a my next therapeutic session will be looking into like what exactly am I scared of by
Yeah.
putting my art out there now, because I don't even know what it is, like I am not someone that is really scared of like negative critiques. So
Yeah.
it's not that. It's like I don't know what I expect to happen. Like what is the bad thing that makes that pit in my stomach when I release
Well,
something?
I think it makes you vulnerable, and that's definitely that makes sense. I mean, you're putting something, a piece of you out there. I mean, whether it's fiction or not, it's something that you worked on and you created, and it's like how, like Tori Amos, her songs are almost like her kids in a way, or like these, friends of hers or whatever. And then she's talked about feeling very vulnerable releasing music, and it's that way with art. It's like anything that you've created, because it's like it's a piece of you, but then also people can judge it, and then you worry that it'll not get a good response, or it's going to be an awful reception or what have you. But it definitely, releasing anything that you've created is a very vulnerable and kind of scary thing to do.
Yeah. Can I
And
ask, when you're doing the podcast, is that something you aim for? Is like vulnerability? Does it scare you when you release an episode or when you're recording an episode of your podcast? Like, what does that feel like for you?
um I mean, I'm okay feeling vulnerable. The weirdest episodes for me are the ones where I've not had a guest and I've just talked. And sometimes I've read stuff from my book. The last episode I just did a bunch of questions. I have this um, card thing called Burning Questions, and I just answered a bunch of those. And that was vulnerable, and it was a little scary. And I was like, what am I doing? I'm like, but it was well received. Um, but I think the scariest thing is there is a lot that I wrote about in my book and I want to talk about, but I think fear stops me from doing that. Um, and I think little by little, though, I've been, revealing things and talking about it, and that it makes it easier. Like, I think I've started, to talk about really difficult things with a lot of my really close friends and family. And maybe some point I'll be able to talk to them, to somebody on the podcast, or just have a solo episode or what have you. Um, I don't know. It's just I think it's kind of fun. I don't know. There's a sense of calm when I record an episode, and I just like the idea of getting past all the bullshit and talking about real things, and um, also elevating people, and bringing people on that other people may not have heard or read or what have you. So I'm trying to just talk to people from all walks of life. I do always go back to my queer horror, because that's my wheelhouse. Um, but yeah, I mean, it is a little scary, but I think it's more fun than anything. Um, I've just gotten really good response from the podcast, and I didn't expect anybody to listen. And I have I think here I am. It's only been out since August last year, and I think I've had like 700 listens, and that's, I mean, to me, that's a big deal. I
Yeah,
don't know.
definitely.
I don't even know what's good and what's not. I'm like, it's better than zero.
Yeah, I think that's huge. That's awesome.
Yeah. No, it's a very therapeutic thing, and I think that's why it's not scary because it's like it's nice to talk to people about things that are sometimes uncomfortable, and I feel like as a culture it's gotten better. I know growing up it was very much like there was a lot that you didn't talk about,
Yeah.
and I think that causes problems because you just shove it away, and you don't even deal with it, just sweep it under the rug.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad things are changing though. I don't know. It feels like there's an openness in society that hasn't always been there. And I think that's the right, you know, the right direction.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I
I'm
remember. Oh, sorry.
what's up?
Oh, I thought you were gonna say something. I I just remember in high school I was on antidepressants, and I like didn't want to talk about it to anybody, and I was just like kind of embarrassed, and I thought it was weird. And then as an adult now, it's interesting how many people that you find out are on them, and it's easier to talk about that. Um, I think mental health is extremely important, and especially in our community, very, very important.
I know. Everyone needs to be in therapy. Like that's how I feel. Just everyone go to therapy.
I know. I hated it because my last therapist, she had to go to a different another practice or whatever, and so I wasn't able to have her anymore. And she was really great. She dealt with a lot of uh, abused children and uh, things like that, so that helped because what was you have those aha moments in your life where sometimes you feel crazy, and sometimes your memories and the things that happen to you, it's either your the shame of talking about a lot of things, and then you wonder, it's like, oh well, maybe I can't remember everything, maybe nothing did happen, or maybe I'm just crazy, or maybe I'm making it up. And it's like when you have a therapist that actually sees you.
Hmm.
Like I laid everything out on the table. I'm like, this is what I can remember. And she's like, ooh, those are red flags. She's like, yeah. So, um, and so that's like I'm kind of making my peace with that. Um, it's just weird that like I know something happened, but I don't know what. Like I don't know if it was just physical abuse, if it was sexual abuse, or a combination. But I'm just very aware that something did happen, and so I don't know, but that's a protection device in your brain. It's that helpful, like, in order to make it through, it kind of it shields you.
Right. And but God, that must be so frustrating, and I get that it's a mechanism that
Yeah,
is probably saving you a lot of, pain, but
yeah,
it's also a pain within itself, it seems, because it just sounds so frustrating.
yeah. I mean, I had to make peace with the fact that I'll probably never quite know what happened. I don't know if it would make it better or worse if I knew.
Mm.
I just knew, I know because of a lot of the behaviors that I had as a kid. Um, those were like 100% telltale signs. That was me and cries for help. And um, yeah, This is getting real deep. Um,
Yes, we're bringing the trauma.
yes, this is the trauma portion of trauma. Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, and it's funny because it's like I love the title of the podcast, but sometimes I feel like that word gets used a lot. Um, I don't know. My weirdness with a lot of things in society is this there's a lot of self-therapizing. Um,
Yeah. I
I
noticed that a lot. Yeah,
yeah,
it's getting pretty intense with that. I don't know
yeah,
where it's coming from though. What is it
I don't
like? I, it's a weird fad. I feel like a weird
I know.
trend.
It's almost like somebody like took a psych class and they're like, okay, or like read something, or they read like a BuzzFeed article or something. I don't
Right. Yes.
know. Yeah, it's just for those of us who actually, and I think a lot of people misuse, trauma and misuse the idea of being triggered and all these things. And I think that for those of us who have had trauma,
Hmm.
uh, it's kind of, it almost lessens it in a way.
Yeah.
Um,
Definitely.
but yeah, I mean, self-therapizing is just as bad as like going on WebMD and then just trying to discover that you have cancer or something.
Right. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't think self-diagnosing is the way. I mean, because also it's like you're doing this to yourself, so obviously you're gonna, you know, what if you look up something and then you don't agree with it, or I don't know, or you just kind of make something because it sounds cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
I feel like that's the flip side to the internet. We have so much knowledge at our fingers, but it's like
Yeah, like nobody fucking uses it.
exactly. It's like the human aspect to it is like, you can always just kind of morph whatever you read into
Yeah,
what you want to say, and so it's so frustrating. So there's no unbiased,
well,
takes anymore.
and then sometimes you never know because it's like things like Wikipedia where anybody can just go in there and edit it.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't know. It's hard to know what is the truth. I don't know. It's all misleading.
Yeah,
It's a scam.
it's a failed experiment. Let's just turn it off. Just
Yeah,
turn it
I mean,
off.
it is just kind of funny how it was, they call it social media and it was supposed to bring people together, but it's just, it just separates us. And um it's just so weird to me, like go out to dinner and you see people and they're not even looking at each other or talking, they're just sitting on their phone, and I'm like, oh my God, like
I know. Yeah.
it's weird.
I just witnessed my first like iPad kid. I had always heard the term or like have seen it in like commentary videos, but maybe like a week ago, my husband and I go out to dinner, and across from us is, like a preteen on his phone, and a young toddler on not even an iPad. They brought a full fucking laptop and sat it on the table and let their toddler just like watch cartoons on the laptop, and neither parent talked to either of their children or each other. I was just like, why did you go out to dinner? I don't under What are you
Yeah,
doing? That sounds so sad. Like, oh, I
yeah.
don't know. I don't know.
I know it. I mean, but and then the same token, I feel like I was raised by the TV, so it's
Yes.
similar.
Yes, very much so. Television was a huge part of my childhood, but
Yeah.
I don't remember ever like taking a TV, out to dinner. It's like my family, my parents definitely were like for a couple years the TV tray parents. So
Oh,
like we would break out the TV trays and like eat in front of the TV for dinner every now and then.
yeah,
And even that didn't bug me as much, but it's like when we went out to dinner, you know what I mean? Like that was supposed to be a special moment, at least
yeah,
for us. And that's like, we enjoyed each other's company. So I was just from my biased opinion, talking about bias, watching that, I was just like, I just thinking of me at that age, I would have been so sad if my parents were like ignoring me because I loved joking and being silly when we'd go out to eat and like have these, fun moments. So just like,
yeah.
oh no, all he's doing is like watching TikTok. You could do that
Oh,
anytime.
it's TikTok. Is that still? I don't know. I keep hearing rumblings about them like banning it or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with that. I don't know if it's actually getting banned.
I have no idea. I don't do TikTok. I hate it.
Oh
It's like
yeah,
ADHD. It's so I don't know.
yeah.
I hate it when people send me videos. I'm like, please stop sending me videos of people doing stupid dances or whatever.
I know. Yeah, I never got into TikTok, but I don't know. It just like was never for me. It never excited me.
Yeah.
The one time I tried to make a TikTok account was last Fashion Week. I was like, I had some cute outfits. You know what I mean? I just wanted to show it off, and I had brought a friend from law school before I dropped it. I am a law school dropout just recently.
Right. Yeah.
hmm hmm And my law school friend came with me to Fashion Week, and she's young and like cool and beautiful, and so she was just like trying to talk me into like doing TikTok. So I was like, fine, we'll do it. Can show off my outfits. It lasted a day. I
Okay.
made maybe three posts, right? And every comment was so mean. And like I said, I don't care about negative opinions, but it was just like a moment where it's like, this is boring. Like, you know what I mean? I wanted
Yeah.
to have fun and like connect with people. And like, all you're doing is calling me mean names. And I was like, this isn't fun.
Well, that's because they can hide behind their, phones or their keyboards or whatever, and they don't have to, they can't say it to somebody's face.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like I wonder if those people act like that in real life. Like,
Probably not because they're probably afraid to do it to other people, but they feel more comfortable, like, under some disguise or what have you.
hmm,
I don't know.
why would you get the want to do
It's
something like that?
people
It's
are
so
awful.
weird.
It's people are the worst.
Oh man. I don't know. Have you ever
Yeah.
had the urge just like to just go online and be like, fuck your ugly face? It's like what?
Oh,
Why? Like why are you doing that? That's so weird.
I mean, sometimes, but like, it depends. Like, I mean, not quite like that comment, but like, I have, I'm on a Madonna tattoo like fan page, whatever, and the rule is to be nice and not say anything negative. And some of these tattoos that I've seen, I'm like, oh God. And it's just like, okay. And it's like, I want to, but I just don't. And there have been times when, people will put something stupid on Facebook or Instagram and I start typing this big long comment and then I just delete it. I just walk away. I'm like, it's not worth it. I want to, but it doesn't do any good. It's not, it's not proactive.
Right. Yeah, of course. I don't think the thought is the same as the action.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I always find it strange. Like I actually not too long ago I had a total like mental meltdown because I noticed family members on social media that I was like relatively close to that were posting just the nastiest things and specifically like about queer people too. And so it was just like oh my gosh, like I don't know who, it felt weird to be like I don't actually know this, cousin or this aunt as best as I thought I did. Like, oh my god, they're actually all monsters. Like it was so strange to see someone's internet personality for the first time. And it's like it is I can't ignore it anymore. Like, you know what I mean? It's like it's unseeable and it's so strange. I just will never understand how people can go online and just let their asses show. Oh my god, it was some nasty, nasty stuff.
Well, some people just don't care and they don't have any, no, they don't have fear of any sort of ramifications. So, and some people are just uneducated and or they're hurt themselves and they feel like they'll make themselves feel better by lashing out at other people.
Yeah.
A lot of
Yeah.
people don't people very well.
Yeah. I can definitely see that.
That's because people are the worst. Uh,
Yeah. Unfortunately.
mm,
That's why we got to stick with animals.
yes, and horror.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, animals and horror. That's all you need.
Yeah, that's the reason for living, honestly. Animals and like scary books and scary movies and like what
Oh,
more do you
well,
need?
music, yeah,
Oh, of course.
and coffee,
Oh yeah.
and then we're
Wait,
good.
I have to ask, do you have a favorite Madonna song
Yeah, I do.
slash favorite Madonna era?
Um, my favorite Madonna song is a song called "Till Death Do Us Part." It's on the Like a Prayer album.
Okay.
It's about her very rocky marriage to Sean Penn.
Mm.
And my favorite era, uh, it's really hard to choose, but I always lean towards the erotica era.
Okay.
Uh, that was a great era. That was just, I mean, but I mean, I did love. I think she was pretty much flawless from like a prayer to like bedtime stories, even Evita. But yeah, I guess erotica probably.
Okay. I love
Even the
that.
gold tooth.
Oh, wow. I haven't
Yeah,
thought of that in a while. Yeah.
yeah, she had that gold tooth with the D because her alter ego was Dita.
Oh my gosh. I
I
didn't know
know.
that. Wow. I love that. How do you
Yeah.
feel about, okay, so
Uh-uh.
growing up, I feel like I had my mom would play the Immaculate Collection over and
Uh-huh.
over and over again. And so like
Yeah.
that, I think, my like easy answer would be like, I don't know. Like that's maybe my introduction to Madonna. But the one album, or I think it was an album that I bought, that I purchased on my own was, I want to say it was an Austin Powers movie. She had a song
Oh,
on the soundtrack, "The Beautiful Stranger."
yeah,
That that was my like first introduction to Madonna, where I was like, I need to go out and buy this on my own, you know?
yeah,
And so I don't know. I always had a soft spot for that song.
yeah. Oh, I do love that song. That's one of her better ones.
Yeah, I play it on repeat. I love it.
Yeah, it's a good one. I think that came out, oh God, was that 99?
Yeah, it was around that time.
Yeah, I was 21.
I was,
I
I
don't need to
was,
hear.
I was 9.
Oh my God, Jesus Christ. That happens.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I do love Beautiful Stranger. That was a good time period. I mean, for me in my life, but also for Madonna. Uh,
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
coming off of
definitely.
Ray of Light, you know. Ray of Light is still my favorite album. It's so good.
I did love Ray of Light. I actually had that was my first hit clip. Do you remember hit clips?
I do. I had the one for I think Don't Tell Me, the one off the music album.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, I know. It's so funny. So funny what like was out and never quite caught on.
Yeah,
And it didn't even play a whole song. It was just like a clip.
I know. I don't know why I love them so much, but I would sit there and just replay them over and over again. It's so
Yeah,
bizarre looking back. Like now we can fit, I don't know, an entire computer on like that size of a chip. It's just that, I don't know, technology sped up so fast, but what a good memory, hit clips. So fun, so
I know.
wholesome.
I'm sure you could find them on eBay.
Oh, maybe I should.
Oh my God,
Huh,
this is your next collection.
I guess. Are you a collector of things? Do you like collecting things?
I do. I'm obsessed with Halloween stuff, so I have a lot of um, skulls and pumpkins and whatnots. Of course, I have pumpkins. You know, Pumpkin King.
I
That's
love
my
them.
Instagram, my main Instagram. It's confusing because I have a bunch of Instagrams, but only two that I use regularly for the podcast, and then my personal stuff. Um, I do obviously collect a lot of Madonna stuff. I was getting the Funko Pops for a minute, but then uh, it became a problem, so I had to stop. I don't have a lot. I maybe have like 20, and I was like, okay, that's 20 too many, probably.
Oh, 20 is not bad. I've seen people dedicate entire rooms to their Funko collection. Did you do a lot of like the spooky guys, like the horror themed Funkos?
I have some. I mean, I have Dracula, but I have like Will and Grace and Jack and Karen, and I
Oh,
have a
that's
few.
cute.
I have a few Princess Leia ones because I love Carrie Fisher, and I've got Parks and Rec. I have some from whatchamacallit. I have an Agatha one from the Marvel show because I worked on the Agatha series.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, I was before my glamorous life right now, although not at all. I worked in film, although that wasn't glamorous. I don't know. It was fun, but I do miss it. But yeah, I worked in film for a while, and then the strike happened, and here we are.
Oh, no. Wait, how long were you in film? That sounds really fun. That sounds exciting.
For almost 2 years, I was basically a personal assistant, and I worked on three different shows in 2 years.
Wow. I love that. I back in college, I was like an extra in New Orleans on sets, and I was always so like I don't know, I just always loved film, and getting to see like the behind the scenes was so cool. And uh I worked in fashion for a long time, and I kind of attribute my love for fashion and like going into that career to that time that I was an extra or like did work on sets. And I got to help their wardrobe team once at it's like a weird cool sci-fi like time travel movie. And they had pieces from like specific decades, and it was just I don't know, all of it was so cool. And like seeing how clothing could tell a story, and
Right.
that just like I don't know, something lit up in my head, and I was just like, oh, I love clothes, I love fashion. And that was the moment that I kind of like started pursuing it. But something about film is so magic. I can't imagine like working in that industry like you did.
And it's funny because it became like normal, like everyday stuff. But once I actually saw the shows that we worked on, it's
Hmm.
like I almost understood. It's like, oh, that's why we do what we do.
Yeah.
But I think I was kind of perfect because I'm not as knowledgeable, I guess, about a lot of actors um, and things. So I'd have to IMDb a lot of people, and I'd be like, I don't know who that is. And when they interviewed me, they're like, "Well, are you starstruck?" And I said, "No." I said, "I'm fine unless it's Madonna." Everyone else is like, okay, because they're people too.
Yeah.
I do. It is interesting to me the process, though, the process of creating these productions and what goes into it. And I like the behind the scenes stuff. Like a lot of people are like, "Oh, it should be an extra. You should do this." I'm like, I don't want to be in front of the camera. I'm okay. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, being an extra, I felt like it's like you're kind of just blending. You're being a background actor, it's almost like you kind of do feel like sometimes a part of the set more than anything. And I don't mean that in like a negative way, because there's an art to every form of acting, and even background acting. And it's like not to reduce people that are background actors, but it's like you're I feel like creating more of the atmosphere rather than you know um part of being a person. And so I am not someone that wants to be in front of the camera. Like I don't know, we talked about like nerves, and that is something that like freaks me out. And I never got that like fear or nervousness doing those little gigs while I was in New Orleans for college. And I don't know. It was interesting. It's
yeah,
really cool to just kind of see every time they would like reset and, shoot the scene over again. And you just kind of see, I don't know. That was more of a movie magic moment to me, was just like, okay, let's do this again. And it's like, oh my God, like I don't know, rewinding
yeah,
life. You know what I mean? It was such a cool moment. It's like, oh my gosh, I love that. I love seeing that.
yeah, yeah. It's interesting. I wasn't really ever on set a lot, and it's probably good because my job was so offset and mostly with the people's personal lives that I just felt like a bumbling idiot every time I went on set. Like I didn't know what was what or who was what or where to go, and so I would just find the person that stood still the longest and say, "Hey, you, where do I go?" So, but yeah, I always felt awkward on when I was on set. I mean, I'm sure if I did it all the time, I'd get over it, but yeah, I just didn't deal with a lot of that side. Got to see some of it. It was interesting.
Yeah.
So, but but yeah. Well, I think it probably should be time to wrap this wonderful conversation up.
I had a blast. Thank you so
Me
much for
too.
having me. This was
Of
very fun.
course. Yeah, I'm trying not to like, because some episodes went on for like 2 hours, and I was like, okay, I need to curb that a little bit.
Well, if you ever want to do a redo and have me back on, I am
Of
happy to
course.
do so.
Well, tell everybody where to find your books.
Thank you. Yes, of course. You can find my queer horror series, Tales from Beyond the Closet, on Amazon and Amazon Kindle. And you can also follow my book account on Instagram. It's Beyond the Closet Books.
Love it.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for coming on, and I wish you luck with. I think it would be cool to have the collection and and all the endeavors.
Thank
So
you.
I'll keep
Thanks
in
so
touch.
much. Yay. Yes, please do.
All right. Well, you have a good rest of your day, and I'm sure I'll talk to you soon.
Perfect.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.